You're 22, the Sunday the truck comes. It backs into your mother's driveway at 9 in the morning with its hazards on, and the sound it makes reversing is the loudest thing that has ever happened on this street. You stand in the doorway with a bowl of cereal you are no longer eating, and watch a man in a reflective vest hook a chain to the front axle of your mother's Buick. He is not cruel about it. That's the part you'll remember. He's polite. He's fast. Your mother comes out onto the porch holding a dish towel she never puts down. She doesn't cry. She stands there and lets the neighborhood look at her. The Buick goes up the ramp at an angle that seems wrong, and then it's gone, and there's a rectangle of dry pavement where a car used to be. Nobody comes over. That's the other part. Nobody comes over, but every curtain on the block moves. You decide something on that porch. Not out loud. You don't tell your mother, and you never will. You decide that whatever happens to you for the rest of your life is going to happen where people can't see it. Not the winning. Especially not the losing. You would rather be invisible forever than be scored the way she was just scored, in under 4 minutes, by strangers. 3 months later, you take a job processing claims for $41,000 a year and move into an apartment above a dry cleaner where the floor is warm on Tuesdays. On the way in, you stop at a gas station and buy a blue mug for $3.99 and a notebook for $1. And on the first page, you write a number so far away it feels like a joke. By 24, you have turned yourself into a system. The 401k takes 8% before you see it, then 11 when you figure out the match, then more. The Roth fills every January. The rest goes into 3 index funds you never look at, on a schedule you never break, and the whole thing runs without your permission, which is the point, because you don't trust yourself, and you've decided that's an asset instead of a flaw. You drive a Camry with 106,000 miles on it, and a passenger window that only goes down 2/3 of the way. You go out twice a month instead of every Friday, and you order first, so nobody notices you ordering cheap. Marcus does it the other way. He leases a Charger in October and posts a photo of the key fob on his palm in the dealership lot, and it gets more responses in an hour than anything you will do for the next decade. Not because you want the car, because you want the hour. You get a raise at 26, 58,000. You don't tell anyone, and nothing about your life changes. The trick is that a life nobody's watching is unbelievably cheap to run. The cost is that nobody can congratulate you for a thing they can't see. You're 29, and it happens in a Costco parking lot on a Wednesday in April. You're waiting out a hailstorm, the small kind, more sound than damage, rattling the roof like someone dropping change on it, and you open the app the way you've opened it 1,000 times, out of habit, without hope. And the number has 7 figures in it. The hail keeps going. A cart wrangler in a yellow poncho pushes a chain of carts past your bumper with his shoulder into the wind. Nothing on the other side of your windshield changes at all. You wait for something. You sit there like the moment might be running late. Somewhere in the back of your head, there has always been a version of this where a feeling arrives on schedule and settles the whole thing. After 90 seconds, you understand it was never coming. You pick up the phone to call your sister. You get to her name, your thumb sits there, and you think about the questions, the way she'd look at you at Thanksgiving, the way it would get to the block. You put the phone face down on the passenger seat. Then you go inside and buy a rotisserie chicken and paper towels, and you drive home, and you eat standing up. You thought the number would announce you. Numbers don't do that. Numbers just sit there being true. Her name is Donna, and she is around for a little over 2 years, and she never finds out. She isn't materialistic, which somehow makes it worse. She wants to book a flight without a 2-week conversation about it. She jokes early that you're the cheapest man she's ever dated, and it's affectionate for about a year, and then one night in the car outside her building, it isn't. She says it's not the money. She says she has never once seen you want something in front of her. She gets an offer in Denver at 31. She doesn't ask you to move. She asks you to come out for a weekend and look at apartments. Just look. And you say, let's see how the quarter goes. You could have bought her building and never noticed it on a statement. Instead you said, let's see how the quarter goes, because the man who could say yes and the man who could get to $1 million were never the same man, and you only ever built one of them. She's gone by spring. You keep the apartment above the dry cleaner another year because moving would cost $1,100 in fees you can't justify. You had the money for everything except a version of yourself that was allowed to spend it. Marcus calls at 2 in the morning when you're 33, and you haven't spoken properly in 4 years, and you know before you pick up. He talks for 11 minutes without getting to it. The charger's gone. Then a bad year that isn't really about a bad year. Then his wife's name, quieter. Then $9,000 fast. And then forget it. Forget I said it. Twice before you can answer. You send it before you hang up. It takes 40 seconds. And you feel, for the first time in 11 years, that the machine did something. That every Friday you skipped and every window that doesn't go down converted into one useful act at 2 in the morning for somebody who needed it. He pays you back over 14 months and he does not miss a month. And he never calls you again. Not angry. Worse than angry. He's embarrassed, and there's nothing you can do about it because the only way he ever found out what you were was by needing it, and now that's the shape of you in his head forever. At his kid's birthday a year later, he shakes your hand at the door like a man greeting a bank. The money worked exactly once, exactly right, and it cost you the last person who ever called you for anything. You're 35 and it's a Sunday morning and you're at the kitchen table with the spreadsheet open and the blue mug beside the laptop. The same one, $3.99, 13 years of coffee stains inside it like a ring in a tree. You close the laptop. You don't know why. You drive to the gas station on Route 4 and inside there's a kid at the register, maybe 22, buying a phone charger and a mug off the same rack, counting bills onto the counter and getting to the end of them and knowing before the clerk does. He puts the charger back. He keeps the mug. He does the whole thing without looking up once, and you recognize every second of it because you have spent your entire adult life building a fortress around the terror of a stranger seeing you do exactly that. Nobody in that store knows what you're worth. That was the goal. You achieved it. So you drive to your mother's house and fix the porch rail that's been loose since spring, and you stay for dinner, and you don't tell her the number. You tell her you're okay. You tell her you've been okay a long time and you should have said so years ago. This was never a story about $1 million. It's a story about a boy who decided at 22 that the safest place to stand was where nobody could see him, and then stood there so long and so well that eventually nobody did. Silence is a perfect vault. It holds everything you put in it. It never gives anything back.